Hello, my name's Susie Johns and today we're going to paint this fish in watercolours. I'll just go through the materials that I'll be using. So I'll be using some masking fluid and applying this with a rubber-tipped brush, a rubber-tipped applicator, and I've got a yellow wax crayon. There's a white paint pen and white gouache. You don't need both, just one or the other. Paint brushes, 2 round brushes and a flat brush. I like to use sable brushes. And here's my watercolour palette. I buy the watercolours in tubes and squeeze them out into the palette. And I've also got a jar of clean water. So the colours I'll be using today are lemon yellow, ultramarine, permanent mauve, transparent turquoise, cerulean, neutral tint, cadmium yellow and cadmium red. So having drawn the pencil outlines of the fish on cold pressed watercolour paper, I'm just going to mask out a few areas around the eye, across the back, the fins, wherever I want the paper to remain white and unpainted. I'm applying the liquid masking fluid, which is a kind of rubber solution, with a rubber tip, which is on the end of my paintbrush. I would recommend not using your best paintbrushes for applying masking fluid, but to use a rubber-tipped implement like this, or perhaps a dip pen, or an old paintbrush that you're not too worried about spoiling. And once all the masking fluid has been applied, then you put it to one side and leave the masking fluid to dry completely. Now it's dry, I'm just going to add a few marks using a yellow crayon. These marks will remain yellow, they'll resist the watercolour paint. It's another way of creating a mask. So I can go in now and just, with a flat brush, wet the whole area with clean water, ready for painting. I'm starting with a bit of lemon yellow, now a bit of ultramarine blue. Because the paper is wet, the paint disperses and the colours blend into one another. Now a bit of cerulean blue. And a bit of violet. This is a neutral tint that I've just picked up off my mixing area of my palette for a few dark areas. A little bit more. A bit more blue. This is a transparent turquoise, which is a nice vibrant colour. It all looks a bit messy and blurry at the moment, but you have to remember this is just the first layer. We're going to leave this to dry and then apply more paint on top. So put it away, leave it to dry, and then when the paint is completely dry, you can rub away the masking fluid. So now I'll be working with wet paint but on dry paper, and I'm going to start with a bit of transparent turquoise on the tail. And now some cadmium yellow, which is very, very bright. And if you mix the cadmium yellow with a bit of red, I'm just mixing it with some red on my palette, it makes a nice orange colour. Back to a dark blue. This is a mixture, a bit of ultramarine, a bit of neutral tint. A bit more yellow, this is lemon yellow. Mixed with the transparent turquoise makes a nice green. A little bit more lemon yellow and a bit more cadmium. Because there's a lot of paint now, the edges of the colours are blurring into one another, which is what I want. A bit of the transparent turquoise mixed in with the green there. Remember, the more water you use with the colour, the lighter and more transparent the colour, and if you use just a little water, the colour will be darker. The neutral tint is very good for strengthening areas that you want to be dark, like around the face and the tip of the tail.